In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to execute automated tests with Playwright and leverage its features to create a rich integration using the TestRail CLI to import the test results. I'm going to do this in 4 easy steps. For this tutorial, VS Code is my choice of IDE to navigate and execute my code, and you will see a sample Playwright project, which is available on TestRail GitHub repository. Before digging into the details, I need to check if I have Python, Node.js, and npm installed. I can verify it by opening a terminal and writing Python version, then Node version, and npm version. These commands output the installed versions. For the TestRail CLI, I recommend using Python version 3.10 or above. I can now execute step 1 in the script, install the Playwright project. Let's start with npm install, which installs all the node dependencies such as Playwright itself. Then, I need to execute npx playwright install to have all the extras that Playwright may need to run, such as the browsers. And step 1 is completed. Before moving on to step 2 and executing the Playwright project, let's look at the test configuration and implementation so you can see how the project is set up to work with the TestRail CLI. I'm going to close this and open playwright.config.js. This is the Playwright default configuration file, and it has a lot of boilerplate code. What you need to remember is that the TestRail CLI requires a JUnit report to parse and send the test results to TestRail. So what I want to highlight in this file is the reporter configuration. If I scroll down a little, you can see the reporter configuration over here. This tells Playwright to generate the reports described in the list. First, a list reporter for the command line. Second, an HTML reporter. Then, as you can see, I've configured the JUnit reporter to create a report file in the output file location. I also enabled the Embed Annotations as Properties option, which allows you to save the test annotations in the report, enriching the test results uploaded with the TestRail CLI. Now, let's look at one of the test files. The TestRail CLI automatically creates test cases and submits test results with basic information from the JUnit report. What I want to show you is how you can enrich the report so that the CLI sends more data to TestRail. You can do that by using properties, which are generated from Playwright's annotations. Let's look at how you can do that in this first test, inside the Describe block. This test verifies it is possible to add multiple items to a to-do list app. To use annotations in Playwright tests, you need to inject the testinfo object, like you can see here. Then, simply use testinfo.annotations.push and pass in an object with the type and description. In this example, I'm using the TestRail case fields property to add a reference to the new test cases. For case fields, the description needs to contain the name of the field and the value separated by a colon. You can also make use of the TestRail result comment property to add any extra information to the test result. Here, this property is adding the test steps to the test result so that we know what the test is performing and also where it stopped in case of failure. All this without leaving TestRail. Another property example in this project is the TestRail add attachment. You can see it here in the test.aftereach function, which is executed when each test ends. I also injected the testinfo object to have access to the annotations and then check if the test passed with this condition. In case the test failed, it will take a screenshot and add an annotation with its path, so the TestRail CLI can attach it to the test results. You can see what this translates to in the JUnit report and later in TestRail. Now, let's execute my Playwright automated tests using the command line. Simply execute the command npx playwright test. You can see the list of running tests and their results as they finish. Notice that one test failed. I have deliberately failed this test to show you the screenshots in the test results. Looking at the File Explorer, we now have a test results folder. We can find the JUnit report inside. Let's open it. You can see it has test case elements and inside them annotations as properties, such as the TestRail case fields and the TestRail result comment with test steps. If I scroll down a bit, you will find the failing test, which is this one. It has a failure element with all the stack trace. You can also see that it has the TestRail attachment property with the path to the screenshot. The CLI will upload this screenshot to TestRail. Now, let's move on to installing the TestRail CLI and uploading these test results. To install the TestRail CLI, run the command pip install trcli. It's done. You can see it was successfully installed. The fourth and last step is uploading the test results. To do this, I'm going to use a longer command, so let me break it down for you. The command starts with the Y option, which tells the CLI to automatically create all entities, and it's followed by the TestRail instance access details, such as the host name, the username, and the password, and the project I want to submit the results to. Next, it's the parse JUnit command, which receives the path to the report, the title of the test run I want to create, and in this case, I added a little extra, which is a case field value. I want to add the automation type to my new test cases, so I can easily identify them in my repository. I have in TestRail a custom test case field called automation type, with different automations to choose from, and I know Playwright has the ID number 5. Let's copy and paste the command into the terminal and execute it. The TestRail CLI begins by parsing the JUnit file. Then, it creates all the required entities in TestRail, such as test cases, test runs, and test results. The new test run has a link to jump immediately to your test results. Now that the CLI finished uploading the results, I'm going to open my TestRail instance. This is the test case repository page, where I had no test cases. If I refresh it, you can see that the TestRail CLI automatically created test cases for me. I have 2 sections which correspond to the test files, smoke tests and to-do tests. And I have all the test cases which map to each Playwright automated test. I'm going to show the details of one test. You can see the automation ID right over here, which matches the class name and name in the JUnit file, in order to map new results to their specific test cases. You also see the automation type, which I set on the command line, and the references added as annotations on the code. Let's now open the test runs and results page to check out the test run. The name of the test run matches the title I provided, and by opening it, you can see the test results. Looking into the failed test, you can see the test steps in the result, which makes you aware that the test failed in step 2 with the error below. Over here, you have the stack trace with all the error details, and you can also see the screenshot uploaded as test evidence. And just like this, I've integrated Playwright test results with TestRail. The TestRail CLI makes it really easy to do so. Now you can start managing all your testing efforts in a single source of truth, bringing more visibility to your automated tests.